increased echogenicity of the cortex in a cat, the diagnosis list is a bit shorter, but again, it can be different things: glomerulonephritis, interstitial nephritis. In fact, in cats, the most common cause will be renal lymphoma or some other types of tumors that are more rare, but the lymphoma is definitely the most common one. FIP will be also an option. But what we will have to keep in mind is that in cats, often they have some fat vacuoles in the proximal tubular epithelium, and this will create an increased echogenicity of the renal cortex. So in fact, in cats, this increased echogenicity, either it will be incidental because it's just fat vacuoles, either it will be diffuse lymphoma on the most common differential diagnosis list. So then, to be sure, if there is really a high suspicion of lymphoma, because, for example, some other organs are affected, then it's recommended to do aspiration of the kidney. And then we can have an increased echogenicity of the whole kidney, so of the cortex and medulla. So then this will be due to lymphoma again in cats, but also some chronic nephritis can also cause that. So like we see here, a decreased corticomedullary definition because of an increased echogenicity of the medulla and of the cortex. And we can see that again with the end-stage renal diseases, where the kidney will be small, irregular, and diffusely increased in echogenicity, with an unclear definition of the internal architecture really at the end of the renal disease. We can have also a decreased echogenicity of the renal cortex, so this is much less common than the increased echogenicity. And in fact, we will mostly include the lymphoma also in both cats and dogs. Like we have an example here, so this is a case of lymphoma in the kidney of a dog. We see this very large mass, hypoechoic mass, but we can see also that the rest of the kidney is decreased in echogenicity. So at least for this criteria, the list of differential diagnosis, it's much less long. Then we can have focal lesions in the kidney. So those focal lesions, they can be cysts. So like typical cysts, they will be anechoic, well delineated, and again with this distal acoustic enhancement, like we can see. So it means that the ultrasound beam is not stopped by the fluid, so then it will be not attenuated, and then we will have this increased echogenicity dorsal to the cyst compared to other places of the kidney, for example. So this criteria of distal acoustic enhancement, we see it with cysts, but we don't see it with solid hypoechoic masses. So that's a way to differentiate between both sometimes. We can have solitary or multiple cysts. So those cysts, they can be due to PKD, like we saw in cats, or in some breeds of dogs, but it can also be due to degenerative cysts, neoplasia. There is really different causes to see a cyst in the kidney. We can have some abscesses as well. That's much more rare. So what we will see is a mixed aspect with some cellular fluid and some gas. Sometimes if it's an abscess with gas-producing bacteria, for example. Then for the focal lesions of the kidney, we have neoplasia. So neoplasia can be hypoechoic or complex. So rarely it will appear hypoechoic. So again, this example of this lymphoma with the large hypoechoic mass and also a complete infiltration of the rest of the kidney. It can be primary or metastatic. So again, here we have an example of a target lesion into the kidney there that is quite typical of metastasis, but yeah, it can also be sometimes some hyperplasia, so we have to be careful. But when we see that, it's in general suspicious of metastasis, this target lesion, so meaning that it's hypoechoic surrounded by the hypoechoic rim. Then those neoplasia, it can be adenocarcinoma, lymphoma, hemangiosarcoma. We have also those cystadenocarcinoma, so then it will appear more cystic lesions into the kidney. Other types of focal lesions of the kidney, we have the infarcts that are in fact quite common in cats. Those infarcts, they will appear hypoechoic like here, so very focal, and they can deform also the shape of the renal cortex. So like here we see that the cortex is thinner compared with the other aspect of the kidney there. So thinner cortex, a bit flattened aspect of the cranial pole there, and that's typical of infarcts in cats. We can see them in dogs, but less commonly. We can have also hematomas, granulomas, some calcifications or fibrosis. So different types of focal lesions also in the kidneys. Then in cats we can see sometimes this hypoechoic rim following the renal shape, the renal capsule. And this hypoechoic rim in cats is very specific of a lymphoma, because in fact it's due to the infiltration of the neoplastic cells at this level, so just under the capsule. We can see it sometimes with FIP, but it's very less common. So when we see that in a cat, we have to think of lymphoma and definitely do some fine needle aspiration of the kidney in those cases. We have rarely subcapsular or pericapsular fluid that can be due to acute renal failure, but then in general it won't follow the whole capsule like that. It will be just some triangles at some level close to the kidney, but it's rare that it will follow completely the kidney circumferences like that. Then we have some abnormalities of the renal pelvis. So the normal pelvis is not visible in normal animals. In general, we just see the fat around the pelvis, well, in the pelvis region, but we don't see fluid in this pelvis. When we see it in normal animals, it has to be less than 2 millimeters in thickness. So when we measure the thickness, we measure it like this. So if it's less than 2 millimeters, it's okay. Then if it's between 3 and 4 millimeters, we call that already a mild pelvic dilation. In general, it's secondary to intravenous infusion or to diuretic treatments, or if the animal is in a polyuria, polydipsia, then of course there will be a bit more diuresis there, and then the pelvis of the kidneys can be a bit dilated. Then if it's mildly to moderately dilated, it can also be due to pyelonephritis. So in that case, we can see, like here, a bit of distortion of the renal pelvis by so here it's 6 millimeters and it's a bit distorted, so that can be signs of pyelonephritis. We can have renal tumors that are distorting the pelvis and then creating a secondary obstruction and then a dilation of the pelvis. And then we can see sometimes some calculi directly within the pelvis, so very hypoechoic round shadows, round structures with creating strong shadows, acoustic shadows underneath. So that's typical of stones in the renal pelvis in this region. So we can see that the rest of the kidney has a very abnormal structure. So those calculi, they can block completely the pelvis and then create secondary pelvic dilation. We can have very severe dilation of the renal pelvis, so that's what we will call then hydronephrosis, and sometimes the ureter will be also dilated and filled with fluid, well, urine, so it will be hydroureters as well. And usually it will be due to a distal obstruction of the ureter, so either of the ureter itself or of the entrance of the ureter into the bladder. So this distal obstruction is most commonly due to calculi again. So if you have a calculus in the ureter itself, it will block the ureter, and then it will create a secondary dilation of the ureter and then of the renal pelvis. Or it can be due to a tumor at the level of the bladder. So it will be then at the level of the trigone, because it has to block the entrance again of the ureter into the bladder, and then they will create secondary hydronephrosis with time. We can see that as well with the ectopic ureter. So in young animals that are presenting with incontinence, if they have ectopic ureter in general, those ectopic ureters are mildly dilated, and we can follow them up to the kidney, and then we can have some signs of hydronephrosis in the kidney as well. Or we can have a stricture of the ureter that's less common. It's in general secondary to the presence of stones. And sometimes you can have some retroperitoneal mass that are compressing the ureter and then creating hydroureter and hydronephrosis.